bringing you the latest news from Estacado Athletics. This is the Matador Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back to 100.7 The Score for the High School Fan Zone on a Monday night. I'm Randy Rosetta. We'll be joined shortly by Estacado coach Eric Ward, and the rumor is he's bringing a couple of pretty good Ross brothers with him, Cedric and Bobby Ross. Bobby Ross has been one of the most highly recruited guys in Lubbock the last several years, and Cedric's right there behind him. They both played a very key role in Estacado snapping a 4-game losing streak last week. Went down to Andrews and won 42-22. Matadors needed that. It was good to see them do the things they did, and the two guys that Eric is bringing with him had a big part in that. While we're waiting on Eric, just a couple of things. We're running through last week's scores with them in and around Lubbock. Tascosa beat Lubbock High 56-7 last Thursday. Monterey beat Coronado 42-12 in Division II in Class 5A Division II District 2 5A. Lubbock Cooper went out to Wichita Falls and won 51-28. Then there was several non-district games. I mentioned Estacado won 42-22 at Andrews. Liberty lost at home to Greenwood 41-14. In the TAPS ranks, Trinity Christian went down to Merkel and won 34-0. Lubbock Christian won their homecoming game 54-0 against Brownfield. Kingdom Prep won a 6-man shootout 82-32 against Wildorado. And Christ the King Saturday afternoon went to Amarillo and beat Amarillo Holy Cross 58-6. Need to check that Idalou score. I'll see if I can't find it. This week, a lot of football going on in and around Lubbock. We're going to start with the Thursday night game. These Matadors, who are going to be here momentarily, open up District 2 4A Division II play when they host Levelland at Lowry Field on Thursday night. Friday at Lowry Field, you've got the battle for the Silver Spurs, Monterey and Lubbock High, 7 p.m. That game will be on 93.7 The Eagle. David Thetford and Randy Dean will have that call. Coronado goes down to Abilene to take on Abilene High at Shotwell Stadium, 96.9 The Bull on that one. Lubbock Cooper at home against Abilene Cooper right here on 100.7 The Score. That, I believe that's also the Pirates' homecoming game. Friendship is at home against Midland High. They start District 2 6A play out at Peoples Bank Stadium. That one is on Double T 97.3 FM. Liberty plays its third straight home game, and they open their district season, District 2 4A Division II, along with Estacado. Liberty hosts Perryton, and that one will be on 93.1 Yes FM. I mentioned Levelland and Estacado. Idalou is off this week. Trinity Christian is at home against Fort Worth Christian in a TAPS Division II District 1 game. That one kicks off at 6 p.m. at Warwick Memorial Stadium. Lubbock Christian starts their district season, which is Division 3 District 1. They're at home at Mass Rider Capitol Field against Lake Country Christian. So very busy week around Lubbock, in Lubbock. If I'm counting right, I believe Christ the King has a home game as well Friday afternoon. So if you count that one, there are 7 home football games in Lubbock on Friday, and I don't remember there ever being that many. So find a game, go out and watch one. And the one you could go watch Thursday involves these guys, 3 guys that just walked in. If you guys have a seat, 2 players in the middle. Bobby, you're the big brother. You get the bigger chair. What's up, guys? If you're watching on TV, I've been joined to my far left by Eric Ward, first-year Estacado coach, who looks like he's in a much better mood.
Yes,
fair to say?
A lot better.
A lot better mood. To his right is Cedric Ross, who is now, are you a junior?
Yes, sir.
And that's, when you guys talk, use the microphone. You'll have to share it there, hold it up close. And Bobby Ross, who is a senior, and I think I told Coach this not too long ago. I've known Bobby since you just turned 14. Is that right?
Yes,
your freshman year? This guy's got some skins on. Matter of fact, before we get out of here, I'm going to talk about what Nick Long sent us about the career stats that Bobby's got and is pursuing, which I know those aren't the big deal right now. The big deal, Eric, right now is that you guys won that game 42-22, and I know this has been a process, but you guys needed that. You needed something good to happen, and you got something good to happen.
Yes, sir. We also had As I recall, we had 2 touchdowns called back, and we were on the brink of scoring another one. So that's 3 touchdowns that weren't accounted for. I think we could have probably done a lot better. But that's great momentum to build off of.
Well, and the younger Ross here had a lot to do with you guys getting that momentum. I looked at some of the stuff I got. Yeah, Andrews has a very good running back. I don't know if folks understand how good that young man is. DeBose, I believe is how you say his name.
Yes, sir.
Jason DeBose. And I've seen him a couple times. They came up here and played Estacado and Lubbock High last year. He breaks off a long touchdown. Instead of you guys getting your daubers down, ball goes to Cedric Ross on a kickoff and 91 yards?
Yes, sir.
Something like that.
Cedric, is that the longest you've run with the ball to reach the end zone since you've been in high school?
I would say yes.
You know what to do with the ball once you get the ball in your hands. I'm going to get them to talk about it, but how big a jolt of momentum was that for you guys?
It was a very big swing in the game. It was a very big momentum turn, and I always tell them we got to win the swing plays, and that's the momentum swings. And so that was a very quick response.
That changed the complexion pretty quick.
Yes, sir, it did.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about that game, and then Thursday night coming up against Levelland in the district opener against a guy you know fairly well, Eric.
Yes, sir.
I believe you guys probably spent some time at practice together back in the day.
A lot of practice.
Talk about that.
Yes, sir.
We'll come back on the Matador Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. After this break, I'm Randy Rosetta, and we're with the Estacado Matadors.
Breaking down Estacado sports. This is the Matador Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back into the Matador Fan Zone. I'm Randy Rosetta. This is 100.7 The Score. I'm joined by Eric Ward. If you're watching on TV, Eric Ward to my far left, Cedric Ross, and Bobby Ross. They're just 2 brothers, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm not missing any. But there was a cousin, a defensive back.
2 of them.
Remind me their names.
Raheem Ross and Ronald Ross.
Okay. And those guys could play some defense now. Eric, if you ever get a chance to watch video of those 2, defensive back and a linebacker, right?
Yes, sir.
Were they on the undefeated team a few years ago?
I want to say one of them was.
I think Ronald might have been a sophomore or junior the last time Estacado went 12-0 and then got beat in the playoffs. Those guys, there's some football in this family. They know what they're doing.
I believe it.
Well, Cedric, I told you before we left I was going to give you a chance, so give me your breakdown of the kickoff return. You guys just gave up the touchdown. You're down 7-0. You've lost 4 games in a row. Guys were probably starting to think, oh, here we go again. You got the ball, and what happened?
Really, I just seen my teammates pick up all the blocks and just trusting in them. I seen the lane, and I took it. So
here's a chance to talk about your little brother, Bobby. Grab that microphone. How many blocks did he really need there, or did he find a seam and that was it?
He just found the seam and that was it. It just take everybody for that big of a play that happened, especially on special teams. It brought life back to the game because, as you said, it probably was some heads down. As in, like, here we go again. Then Cedric had sparked the game back up and brought us back life.
Were you on the kickoff team?
No, I was on the sideline running.
Coach won't let you on the kickoff team? I can totally understand if you would.
I be needing a break.
Because you're playing a lot of defense too, right?
Yes, sir.
And playing defense well.
Yes, sir.
And I remember Coach Cluley going back to when you were a freshman saying, yeah, he's a pretty good running back, but we might wind up putting him a defensive end or linebacker.
Yes, sir.
So he knew back then. Eric, that's hard when you've got guys this talented, and you guys don't have a huge roster.
Mm-hmm.
How do you kind of juggle that with him and with Donovan and some of those guys that can help you so much on both sides of the ball?
You just got to take care of them. You got to be conscious of how they're feeling and kind of watch and make sure they're okay, take care of their body. And we do accountability forums, and I always tell them, like, the rehab on the forum is the most important thing. And so you got to make sure you're taking care of your body because it's your temple.
I was trying to give you credit for you kind of took over after that, but actually Donovan got the next touchdown. He's the one who got you guys, I guess, even, or maybe put you in front. He's sneaky good on offense. Everybody thinks of him as that defensive guy, but what for both you guys? Why is Donovan so effective when he gets the ball in his hands on offense?
I would say because since my freshman year when he played varsity with me, like he just always had the talent to go be great, and it just took a coach that had believed in him and acknowledge him and just know his talents and know that he's something special.
You know him a little bit in track too, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's one of your. Who's the trio that's been 2 years in a row?
Me, Donovan, and James.
Okay.
James Bozeman.
And then who was Uncle?
Delta.
He's not here anymore.
No.
He's like off in the senior citizen home somewhere. That's what those guys called this poor young boy who's.
They called him Unc.
Yeah, he's just a little bit older.
That was always his need.
And so, what about you, Bobby? When you've watched Donovan, because when we talked before the season, you talked about what a leader he was for you guys on defense, but now he's making that splash on offense too.
Yeah, he always want to do whatever it takes to make the team better, and just being a team leader. And he just want us all to be great, so he wouldn't do whatever it takes for us to be there.
So you and Donovan both carried the ball 11 times the other day, and Donovan did some nice things with it, but you ran for 118 yards. You make the most out of the chances you get, because I'm looking at the stat leaders. I want to find your name real quick here because it just jumps off the page every time I see it. 549 yards on 82 carries, and you scored 8 touchdowns. So when you get the ball in your hands, you kind of got your mind set to do something with it.
Yes, sir. It's just me and my O-line. Watching O-line practice hard, going hard every rep at practice. It just made me want to show them how they work. It's affecting me as well, because without them it's impossible.
We're got to come back and talk about Big V, because I understand he made a play on special teams that helped turn things around too. And that's the thing about breaking through and getting that win. You got a little bit from all 3 units in that game, and that's what you guys have to do. That's what good teams do. So
yes, sir.
We'll come back and talk about Estacado's 42-22 win at Andrews when we come back on the Matador Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Bringing you the latest news from Estacado Athletics. This is the Matador Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Matador Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. Matadors take on Levelland 7 p.m. Thursday at Lowry Field in their district opener. I mentioned, Eric, that you know the Levelland coach a little bit, Lyle Leong.
Yes, sir.
Did I say his name right?
Yes, sir, you did.
Okay, and explain to people why you guys know each other.
Lyle and I were college teammates. We actually played the same position. I backed up Lyle when we were actually in college, so we know each other quite well. We're really good friends, even to this day. I actually got off the phone with him earlier, and so it's going to be an exciting atmosphere.
He's got a little bit of a surprising team too. They're 4-2. I don't know that he's won 4 games in his first couple of years, so they're off to a really good start.
Yeah, they are. Congratulations to them, but we're hungry, and so
yes, you are. You ate a little bit the other night, but
right,
still got some hunger.
We're hungry, and so that's a good way to put it. We put a lot of work in, and I'm just happy to see it starting to come together for them.
These guys are used to me asking this question. You and Lyle, who wins the foot race?
The foot race? I don't know. That's a good one, but I'm going to always go with me. I'm going to bet on myself every time. Back
then?
10 out of 10.
Okay.
Sound like
But both you guys are pretty prominent in the Texas Tech record book, correct?
Yes, sir. I have, if I recall correctly, he probably has 2 more or 1 more touchdown than me career-wise, but I exceed a lot of people with catches and yards. And so I have the most receptions in the game, which is probably 16.
So if this were the XFL, we'd have to figure out something. If the game ended in a tie, we'd have to figure out something with the coaches.
You probably would, but Lau, he's an exceptional athlete, and he's a really good person as well.
You guys have looked at video of them, I assume a little bit. I know Coach has. You've played Levelland the last several years. Bobby, what about Levelland sticks out in your mind from playing them the last couple of years? Because one thing I've always thought about Levelland is they're going to come and they're going to play hard regardless of what their talent level is. You can pass that off to Cedric if you want. Let Cedric talk about it.
Just pick back up on what you said. I say the same thing. They fly around, get to the ball on defense, And offense, they use their key players, so that's always something great, using your key players and knowing where to go.
Eric, you have looked at video of them. What do you see about what they've done to get better this year?
I believe they play hard. I think Lav's done a great job with them, and they're going to compete.
You guys have beaten them pretty well the last couple of years, and that's a rivalry that goes back a ways, back to the Lewis Kelly days, because that was a 4A. It was just a built-in 4A rivalry. Mm-hmm. This is your first district game, Eric. You've coached football for a while. How do things change a little bit once you get to district? How do guys kind of, especially coming off a win, how do you kind of see their energy and their enthusiasm pick up a little bit?
Well, for me, it's the same week in, week out, day in, day out. And my main motto is make sure you're practicing as hard as you can for 46 seconds every play. We need to be 9-unit strong as a football team, and we need to be the best in our unit to make sure we're the hardest playing football team on the field.
These first 6 games, there's been some ups, there's been some downs. These next 4 is what determines how long you get to play. Cedric, you guys have been through this a few times before. Kind of the same question I asked Coach. When you get to this time of year, does it hit you a little bit different how these 4 games are kind of the ones that you have to make sure you're locked in 48 minutes?
I would say yes, because knowing how I look at it, our record is 0-0 now because we're going in a district and everything matters now. So the way you practice, the way you're going to play. So it's whatever you're willing to buy in and bring to the table.
Hand that off to Bobby real quick. You've put up big numbers your entire career, but I bet if I went and looked, some of your biggest games have been when you guys have got to district, and that's part of the coaches kind of leaning on you a little bit more. But what about these district games kind of get you going a little bit more?
It's just about they more important than the preseason games. This is determine how you will make the playoffs, your playoff seed. So you gotta play your heart out even more, not just for yourself but for your team, and give your team the best chance to win.
Well, we're getting the music here, so we're getting towards the end. I'm going to find those numbers for the next time Coach comes on, because you're going to keep getting closer and closer. But you're getting in on the last year of this young man, Eric. You're a former college player, both these guys, but we're going to start with Bobby because Cedric still has a year. Mm-hmm. He has a chance to do some things at the next level. How excited are you to see what he does to finish his career at this level and then move on?
It's very exciting, just to see them both. I have a brother as well, and they remind me of my brother and I think I shared that story with them one time, but at the same time, I'm just showing them the work side of it. Most people see college football and think, oh man, I really want to do that, but it's not wanting to do it, it's what keeps you there, and that's always working hard.
That's going to wrap us up on the Matador Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.